Hello, my friends, it's Danny, and today I am, boop. Hello, my friends, it's Danny, and today I am sharing a, hello, my friends, it's Danny, and today I am sharing a healthy homemade dog treat recipe. Specifically, this is a homemade peanut butter dog treat made with pumpkin, cinnamon, and turmeric. And while I don't always make homemade dog treats for our dog, this happens to be Charlie's birthday week. He is turning 6 years old this week, so I thought, what better time to make a homemade peanut butter dog treat than birthday week? Now, if cooking for your dog is something you've been thinking you might like to do more often, I do have a healthy homemade dog food recipe that I've shared as well. It's a simple stovetop recipe that's super easy to make. I still make this recipe for my dog, Charlie, several times per month. So if that is something you want to check out, I will link it for you down in the description box below. Now, the technique for making these homemade dog treats is very simple. It's a lot like making peanut butter cookies. You don't have to chill the dough or roll the dough. I'm not using any cookie cutters because I really wanted to keep this easy, so I would be inclined to make them more often. So the first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I have a rimmed baking sheet lined with a Silpat mat. That could also be parchment paper, or you could just grease the cookie tray. We just don't want the dog biscuits to stick. Then into a nice big bowl, I'm going to start by combining a half a cup of all natural peanut butter. You want to look for a brand that's loose and pourable like I have here. That's going to create the best texture. I will of course link to my favorite down in the description box below. Then I have a third of a cup of pumpkin puree. If you can't find pumpkin puree, you could use pureed sweet potato or pureed butternut squash. All of these options would work. Just make sure that the only ingredient listed is the vegetable that you're using. We don't want any added sugars or any added spices. And then I have 1 egg. Then I'm just going to combine my wet ingredients. You just want to mix them well until they're all combined. Like I have here, this looks good. And then we're gonna add in the dry ingredients. So I'm starting with 1 1/4 cup almond flour. This is an extra fine almond flour, which I really like to use because it's more nutrient dense than a regular wheat flour. However, if you prefer, you could sub in a white flour or a whole wheat flour for the almond flour. They all work just fine, so use whatever option feels best for you and your pup. And then last, I'll add some spices. I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and a half a teaspoon of turmeric. And again, I'm going to stir this all together until we have a nice thick batter like I have here. Now, just as a side note, this dough is very easy to work with, but when I have used different brands of peanut butter, the dough has been very sticky. So if your dough is sticky, just keep a little bowl of water next to you and keep your palms wet when you are rolling out the dog treats, because it's gonna make it easier to work with. Now, to shape the peanut butter dog treats, I just scoop a heaping teaspoon of the batter into the palm of my hand, roll it into a little ball, and then flatten it out to create a small disc-shaped cookie, just like this. Then I'll place that on the baking tray and repeat until I've worked through all the dough. And you're gonna see you may need 2 cookie sheets, or alternatively, you can just work in batches, because I have found, depending on how big or small you make them, you're gonna end up with somewhere between 25 and 32 peanut butter dog treats. And since this little peanut butter dog treat reminds me a lot of a peanut butter cookie, I like to keep the tradition going, and I just take a fork and create a little crisscross right over the top. You're just gonna push down in one direction and come back the other way. Again, if your dough is sticky, just dip your fork in some cold water. I'll pop these in the oven and I will let them bake anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. You're gonna know that they're done because they're gonna become lightly golden over the top and around the edges, and they will be set through. Now, while my dog treats cool, I like to make an optional glaze to drizzle over the top. Do note that this step is completely optional. You don't have to make it. I just feel like it's really fun and it makes the dog treats look extra special. So into a small bowl, I am combining a 1/3 cup of all natural peanut butter. This is the same peanut butter I used for the dog treat. 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, and then a half a teaspoon of turmeric. And I'll just mix that all together until I have a nice thin glaze like you see here. Then I carefully transfer this into a small sealable bag, get the air out to the best of my ability, close the bag, and then just snip the tiniest little piece off of the corner. Just the tiniest little piece. And then once the dog treats have cooled, I just take that peanut butter turmeric drizzle and I zigzag it right over the top to make this fun little glaze. And if you find you have a little extra glaze when you're finished, just save it, because you can just drizzle this over your dog's breakfast or lunch for a little extra flavor and nutrient boost. Now, once the glaze sets up, you're gonna notice it doesn't get super hard, but it is dry so that you can store these without making a mess. So from here, I just transfer them into an airtight container. I'm using a sealable jar, and you can keep them on the counter for up to 1 week, in the fridge for up to 2 weeks, or store them in the freezer for up to 3 months. And do note that if your dog likes a cold, crunchy treat, you can serve this to them straight from the freezer. But I did intentionally make these peanut butter dog treats on the softer side, because I know not all dogs can do the super crunchy treats. And as you can see, Charlie absolutely loves them. And I hope that your dog does too.